Joining us from our D.C. bureau to talk about the latest Brexit political developments, the man himself, former editor of Time International and Newsweek International, amazingly, Michael Elliott. Mike, we all woke up this morning and found that Boris Johnson, who had been the front runner to be the next prime minister, had suddenly dropped out for reasons unknown and unknowable. Why?
John, who do you want to write the script for this movie, Aaron Sorkin or Quentin Tarantino? I mean, it's been the most astonishing day of a week long of astonishing days. So this morning, as you say, everyone thought that Boris Johnson was not only going to declare as leader of the Conservative Party, but frankly was the front runner and all but certain to be the next prime minister. Then what happened is that his partner in arms, Michael Gove, with whom he had fought the referendum to take Britain out of the European Union, decided that, oh no, Boris wasn't quite up to the job, that he was. So he declared, and 2 hours later, Boris threw the towel in and pulled out. Absolutely unbelievable developments that the British political village are still trying to absorb 6 or 7 hours later.
So, Michael, handicap the remaining field besides Gove, and who's got the inside track at this point?
So the leading candidate, Mark, is the Home Secretary, who's called Theresa May. She was actually campaigned to stay in the European Union. She didn't campaign very intensely, it must be said, but she is a Remainer. She announced her candidacy for the leadership this morning. I thought she did very well, I have to say. She has a reputation for not being particularly charismatic or compelling, but I thought she was great this morning. She made a couple of good jokes. She's already being kind of called the Angela Merkel of British politics, and she, I think, is the front runner. Then there are, let me see now, 3 leavers, of whom Gove is by far the best known, and one other Remainer, Stephen Crabb. So there are 5 candidates, but I think it will come down to Theresa May or Michael Gove. That's how it looks to me right now.
Right. So Michael, we're going to have a new prime minister, a new leader of the Tory party, one of those folks you just mentioned. What's the likelihood of 2 things? The first, what's the likelihood that Jeremy Corbyn will be the leader of the Labour Party over the course of the next few months, or that he'll be replaced? And what's the likelihood that we'll have a general election, a snap election called in the UK before the end of this year?
Really great questions. Let's take the first one first. On Jeremy Corbyn, he has lost the control of 3/4 of the members of the Parliamentary Labour Party, of his MPs, but he still has enormous support with the Labour Party leadership, who cast the votes for who the Labour Party membership, who cast the votes for who the Labour Party is. So right now, if he decided to see out this fight that he's having with the Parliamentary Party and stand for re-election as leader, I rather suspect he would win. That would split the party into 2 completely different arms. You'd have a left-wing membership, and you'd have a sort of soft left, moderate parliamentary party, and I don't see how they can campaign together, something we've never seen before. Will there be a general election? Theresa May went out of her way in her declaration this morning to say there would not be. That a new Conservative government, of which, of course, she hopes she'll be the Prime Minister, would see through the next 4 years to the next scheduled election. But I think what we've learned in the last 8 days is that you really can't predict what's going to happen in British politics more than 24 hours ahead, frankly. So whether as negotiations to get out of the EU develop, you have yet more eruptions in British politics such that there has to be a general election, right. I would certainly not rule that out, though at the moment there's no plans for it.
All right, Michael Elliott, a man touched by greatness and who really had it right. Europe turned out to be a poison chalice in so many ways.